If you haven't already, then be sure to check out my review of Dragon Ball Super Episode 57. It has one hell of a fight. On the previous episode of Dragon Ball Super, our heroes encountered two enemies that were too much for them, causing them to retreat back to the past, or their own timeline, depending on how you look at it, with Trunks and Bulma finding their bodies lying on the ground outside of the time machine. Meanwhile, while all this was happening, Zamasu was able to find out about the Super Dragon Balls thanks to Gawasu, but he wasn't able to find out as much as he'd like, so he ended up finding Lord Zunu, the person who knows everything essentially, and asked the question about the Super Dragon Balls. And this episode picks up from that, with Lord Zunu telling Zamasu the exact same thing that he told Bulma and Jocko the Space Patroller many episodes ago in Dragon Ball Super, but Zamasu literally cuts him off and says, "I just want to know what they do." And then Lord Zunu goes, "Okay, well here's what you need to know," and tells him that they're wishing orbs and basically any wish that he wants can be desired. But he has to wait a year because he can't use them right now because they were already used by Beerus when he wished for Universe's 6th Earth to be, restored. Then Zamasu goes to ask Lord Zunu how long he has to wait for the Super Dragon Balls to, be able to be put back into use again. And Zunu says, "Okay, you can't ask any more questions. All your questions are up." Then Zamasu threatens to attack him again and says, "I'm a Kaioshin and I could wipe you out in the blink of an eye if I really wanted to." And Lord Zunu just kind of basically goes like, okay, I'll tell you whatever. And Zamasu goes, "Tell me the exact location of every Dragon Ball and tell me everything you know about Son Goku." And that's how that scene ends, which then leads into the scene of Trunks, Vegeta, and Goku all lying on the ground unconscious, but they're each given a sensu bean. And as soon as Goku heals up, he literally jolts right back up and says, "Alright, let's get another crack at Black." And Bulma's like, "No, you idiot! You're no match for him. You need to sit back and rethink the situation." Then Bulma literally goes, by the way, you forgot these sensu beans here." And Goku's like, "Oh, well, where did I forget them?" And Kid Trunks is like, "You left them in the bathroom." And then Goku's like, "Oh yeah, I used the bathroom before we left." So that explains why Goku didn't have his trademark sensu beans on him, for anyone who was actually worried about that. They're basically talking about how Zamasu is now immortal, or in the future timeline, and how he's evil and partnering up with Black, and the others are just as baffled as they were, and they're still trying to wrap their brains around this whole situation. Trunks ends up going up to Kid Mai, and he tells her that her future self was alive. This leads to the Pilaf gang and Kid Trunks celebrating. Then Shu points out, "Well, we didn't even know her, so why are you so happy?" This leads to Pilaf punching him. Pretty comedic scene if you ask me. But Trunks, of course, gets a little emotional because she refused to come back to the past with him. And of course, this bothers Trunks because he doesn't know whether she's going to survive or not. But then Kid Trunks reassures to Kid Mai, who also got upset by that she is a strong woman and that it's going to take a lot to put her down, basically. And of course, the Pilaf gang agrees because, they're like that 30s mafia henchmen, like, "Yeah, boss, that's for real, that's totally right, boss." Those kind of henchmen. So as this is going on, Beerus, Whis, and Supreme Kai, or Kaioshin, they all show up. It's because Kaioshin had something to tell Goku, something really important that he needed to tell him. This leads to the Pilaf gang bringing out food for Whis and Beerus and Supreme Kai. And Supreme Kai's like, "The hell is this? Like, what is this?" This leads to Goku coming out with his, same old attitude, like, "What do you want?" Supreme Kai goes, "Lord Zunu contacted me." And Bulma's like, "Oh, how is he?" And Supreme Kai's like, fine, I guess." Lord Zunu told him that someone came up to him recently and was asking about Son Goku. And not only that, but the Super Dragon Balls. And of course, Beerus reveals that this person was Zamasu. This then leads into the entire gang talking about what Zamasu possibly would want to know about Goku and what he'd want to use the Super Dragon Balls for. Now, there's a lot of back and forth between everyone here. They all get their theories in as to how he got immortal or how he's going to get immortal, and they think that he's going to use the Super Dragon Balls to get immortal, or he's going to use the Super Dragon Balls to get a serpent that looks like Son Goku, or with the power of Son Goku. And everybody's like, well, he's pretty patient to be able to wait for the Dragon Balls to come back after a year. And then Beerus points out that he probably doesn't have to be patient because he could get his hands on the time rings. And that's when they all think, okay, well, how's this guy get his hands on the time rings, and how does, Goku Black get a hold of one of them? because, it's only available to Kaioshins. So then they think about it, and what they've come to is that Zamasu is going to kill Gowasu and get his hands on the time rings, or his time rings specifically. So Goku, Beerus, Whis, and Supreme Kai all rush over to Gowasu's place in Universe 10 to see if he's okay, because they're not sure if he's alive or not. And once they get there, they ask if Zamasu's there, and Gowasu's like, no, he's not here. He hasn't been here all morning, which then leads to Beerus asking Gowasu if Zamasu's had any off behavior lately, like if anything seems off about the guy. Gowasu starts thinking about it, and he's like, well, not really. Then Beerus goes, okay, well, is he having any thoughts about justice lately and such? And then Gowasu says, well, he has more doubts in it than he has anything. Then Gowasu goes to explain that every time that Zamasu asks about justice or like humans and such, that he basically always questions it when Gowasu gives him a valid answer. And as he's explaining this, it seems that Zamasu is coming to kill Gowasu. It literally looks that way. He's in a shadowy place pushing the tea cart, and by the time he gets there, they turn around and Gowasu notices that he's standing there with the tea, because earlier on in the episode, Gowasu was calling out to Zamasu to get him tea, but Zamasu was nowhere to be seen, so this confused Gowasu as to where he went. But here he is now, coincidentally, and he says to Gowasu, your tea is ready. And that's how the episode ends. So this episode was more of a character-driven episode, and a lot of theories and mystery unraveling, I would say. Well, no mysteries have really been unraveled somewhat, unless the next episode confirms it. But this whole episode was based around speculation as to what Zamasu's going to do. And I enjoy that. I enjoy the fact that there's an episode dedicated to a new character. That's really cool. Because usually these episodes are dedicated to the Z fighters, the usual Goku or Vegeta or Trunks or hell, sometimes Gohan. That doesn't usually happen a lot though, unfortunately. But it's usually based around those characters, and to see that we have an episode now that's based around a new villain potentially is really cool. And from the looks of it, the next episode seems to be setting up that Zamasu's going to off Gowasu in some form or fashion. Now, I'm sure that is going to happen. I have a feeling it is. But who knows, maybe the Z-Fighters will come in and save his life. But as of right now, it just seems like it's a way to have Zamasu fully turn to the evil side of things. So I really enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to the next one. This is Gojira 2012, saying farewell for now.